Tonight, the mother of a toddler who died almost 10 years ago testifying in court about the final hours of her son's young life. Plus, Canada and Mexico agree to a strategic partnership, vowing deeper ties in the face of Donald Trump's trade war.
It really is about making sure that we're singing from the same songbook.
And the city defends its move to paint over a sign promoting a Richmond Row cannabis shop.
I can certainly say that I am confident that our team followed the process in this case.
CTV News with Lauren Stallone.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight at the London courthouse where the mother of a toddler who died almost 10 years ago broke down and sobbed while testifying on the stand today during the trial of a babysitter charged in connection with the death. CTV's Nick Paparella has more.
The heartache of a mother who lost a child was apparent as Roseanne Vanderweel testified about the final hours of her young son's life. It was in October of 2015 that the lifeless body of 15-month-old Nathaniel McClellan was given to her after a day at the babysitter's house. At the time, 46-year-old Megan Van Hoof ran an unlicensed daycare from her home in Stratford. Vanderweel said as she handed over her son, he was unresponsive. She kept saying she was sorry. The mother rushed her toddler to hospital, and through tears, she went on to say, his eyes were closed. He was lifeless. I thought he was dead, and I screamed. Vanderweel was frantic as she asked hospital staff, please help my baby. Please help my baby. While at hospital, she said, I was asked if there was anything that could have caused these injuries, and I was not aware of anything. Then later, she said, because of an injury to the child's head, I was present when my husband asked the nurses to call the police. Officers would eventually end up interviewing everyone involved, and 6 years later in 2021, Van Hoof would be charged with manslaughter. She has pled not guilty. Later in the day, Nathaniel's mother was cross-examined by Van Hoof's defense lawyer, who questioned her about the toddler's condition in the days before he died. Vanderweel was asked about the statements given to police officers and the recordings she made with other professionals in the months and years after the death, saying, I didn't trust the police. They considered us suspects until charges were laid. She added, I've been living with the death of my child for a very long time. I'm still working towards justice for my son. I want to know what happened. The trial is slated to last more than 4 weeks. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
One person suffered minor injuries after a downtown crash involving an LTC bus. It happened around 10:15 this morning at the intersection of Richmond and Oxford. Eastbound traffic on Oxford was completely blocked. An LTC inspector was called along with a second bus, but it wasn't needed. There is no word on possible charges. A woman who was seriously hurt in a crash last week near the downtown core has died. The province's Special Investigations Unit says a pickup truck fleeing from police collided with an SUV at the intersection of Queens Avenue and Williams Street on September 10th. The 67-year-old woman was inside the SUV and suffered critical injuries. She died in hospital Thursday. A 45-year-old truck passenger and a 70-year-old man from the SUV were also hurt. Witnesses or anyone with video of the incident is asked to contact the SIU.
Good evening, I'm Rita Ismail. It is a perfect evening out there. High pressure dominating the forecast the last 24 hours as we head into the weekend. The sun setting on summer, and that means we're anticipating a little bit of instability moving our way Sunday. We have a low pressure system that we're tracking. It is going to move in slowly Sunday, and that will bring with it some rainfall and some embedded thunderstorms. I'll tell you who will be impacted by that system coming up in the full forecast that's still ahead.
Canada and Mexico have agreed to a strategic partnership, vowing deeper ties in the face of Donald Trump's trade war on both countries. The U.S. is expected to make major demands during renegotiations of the trilateral trade agreement known as CUSMA. CTV's Judy Trin reports.
Look at that, pride of Canada right there.
Prairie wheat being offloaded from a Canadian train in Mexico. A choreographed moment to emphasize how improving rail lines, ports and pipelines can lead to economic growth in both countries. The Prime Minister's strategic partnership with President Claudia Sheinbaum aims to boost trade with Mexico. The results will be tracked.
Every 3 months, there will be an accountability mechanism for us to reconvene with Mexico, and in particular the ministers responsible for the various items in the action plan.
The plan also calls for more cooperation in fighting drug cartels and human trafficking. But analysts say this meeting was more about concerns that the Canada-US-Mexico trade agreement is unraveling.
It really is about making sure that we're singing from the same songbook, and that Mexico and Canada are not going to get played off of one another.
This after some troubled trade history. During the first Trump administration, Mexico signed a side deal that threatened a North American agreement. But these two leaders say they're committed to negotiating a continental agreement.
CUSMA, USMCA, is strength together. It's strength of the three countries together.
Now, after the U.S. launched public consultations, Canada is doing the same.
Formally, the beginning of the Canadian consultative process with Canadian industry, businesses, workers.
In the meantime, LeBlanc will be visiting Washington in the next few weeks to continue trade talks. He'll also be leading a trade mission to Mexico in the near future. All this as CUSMA is set to expire in June 2026. Judy Trin, CTV News, Mexico City.
The federal government tabled new legislation today cracking down on hate, including the use of terrorism-related symbols. Justice Minister Sean Fraser introduced 4 new criminal code offenses. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
The flames went up the door.
Cantor Henry Topaz's Montreal synagogue has been firebombed twice since the Hamas terror attack of October 7th, 2023. He says the government's new hate crime bill is a step in the right direction.
The idea of vulnerable infrastructure, notably houses of worship, are now more protected than they ever have been before.
Tabling of documents.
Bill C-2 has 4 new hate-related criminal offenses, including making it a crime to promote hate against an identifiable group through symbols, including a swastika and those from designated terror groups, making hate-motivated crime a specific offense, and making it a crime to obstruct or intimidate people trying to access places of worship and other places like schools used by an identifiable group.
The prevalence of hate crimes in this country that steal those freedoms are something that should shock the conscience of every Canadian.
Statistics Canada shows police-reported hate crimes targeting religion have been on the rise, largely due to attacks on Jews and Muslims. In 2024, there were 229 Islamophobic attacks and 920 anti-Semitic.
The application of it is going to be really important to make sure that the right balance is struck between, making sure that Canadians still have, the basic ability to express themselves, and we're maintaining civil liberties.
The Justice Minister says that balance was top of mind when crafting the new bill. It's not clear yet what support this minority government may get from other parties as this bill moves its way through the House. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A solidarity rally was held over the noon hour in support of striking Fanshawe College workers.
We support your demand for better working and learning conditions. We support your resistance against privatization. And above all, we support your call for a fair and just deal.
The rally was organized by the London and District Labour Council. Representatives from a number of local unions came out to bolster the spirits of OPSEU Local 109 members. They are part of a province-wide walkout by support workers in Ontario colleges. There are about 650 members of Local 109 at Fanshawe, and they fill most of the non-academic roles in the school. They are facing the impacts by staffing cuts currently underway at the college.
Your presence here today and for the last 9 days has held us up and has allowed us to continue. So my sincere thanks to each and every one of you.
A task force recommends London City councillors receive a 33% pay raise next term to compensate for rising workloads and responsibilities. But as CTV's Daryl Newcomb explains, they can't be required to work full-time hours for that full-time pay.
Certainly it is a jump, but I think it's also really catching up from a long time.
The Council Resourcing Review Task Force will recommend significant increases to City Councillor pay and expenses for the next term of council. They're currently paid London's median full-time employment income, which will be almost $71,000 come November 2026. But the task force recommends a 33% raise to more than $94,000 a year, equal to the 70th percentile. A previous task force had defined city councillor as a full-time role, but several still own businesses or work external jobs. This task force suggests, quote, the expectation that a councillor's role constitutes full-time service be clarified and reinforced in council documents, but admit there's no way to require full-time hours from a councillor.
Cementing that as the full-time council role, that's the expectation should be there, and so commensurate salary to that point. And also, I think, we've seen a lot from the comparator municipalities. Some of them are even beyond where that salary is right now.
Base pay would be boosted an additional 4% for standing committee chairs and 8% for the deputy mayor and budget chair positions, which would end up topping $100,000. No pay raise is recommended for the role of mayor. Updated census figures for full-time employment income are expected in the fall of 2027. The task force recommends that trigger an automatic change to councillors' base pay, and if the economy were to slow, that could potentially mean their pay would go down.
If you're in a role that's serving the constituents of your community and the community is not doing as well, I think it's fair that then potentially goes down. But if the community is doing well, there is the other side of it that it could go up.
Acknowledging rising costs and workload, the current $13,500 general expense account is recommended to become a $10,000 general expense account, plus a new dedicated $15,000 account to retain a part-time assistant.
Obviously, it's an increase in the expenditures, and that's something that council will decide or not if they're interested in. But I think really what it is it's looking at how can they best serve their constituents.
On October 3rd, the task force will finalize its recommendations. Then it will be up to City Council to decide if any changes are made to next term's pay and expenses. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
The City of London is defending its move to paint over a sign promoting a Richmond Row cannabis shop. Our story this week on the controversial action has sparked widespread online reaction, with many suggesting the move was an overreach. Here's CTV's Sean Irvin.
As black paint was applied to hide the Your Highness Cannabis sign on Tuesday afternoon, it was already clear the controversy could not be covered up. Online and on the streets, many immediately accused the city of bureaucratic overreach.
That's a little ridiculous. They need a sense of humor.
The move to paint over the sign began 3 years ago, according to the owner of the business, Ali Khan. Earlier this week, he spoke to CTV News off camera about his frustrations with city staff and city councillor Peter Cuddy. Now he's expressing them before the lens.
Well, we're still trying to digest this, what happened to our mural. We just need to get clarification from the city council.
Khan tells CTV News he has attended multiple meetings with Cuddy over the past several years. During each session, he was told the city wanted to paint a more welcoming sign over his message, and each time, Khan offered the same response.
And my question was like, what's wrong with my mural? Why do you want to take down my mural And for yours,
Connie has told CTV News the city went through the proper channels before acting. However, when pressed, he could not explain in detail what process gave the city the legal right to paint over the sign. So we asked bylaw staff for an answer. They cited confidentiality in part, but made it clear the sign was deemed a third-party advertisement that failed to meet both the property standards and signage bylaws.
In this case, there were a number of bylaw violations under the signs bylaw, but we addressed this under the property standards bylaw, which requires that all exterior surfaces on a building are maintained.
Khan has argued that he recently repainted the sign to meet those demands at a cost of $16,000. However, what's also at play is how the sign ended up on the building in the first place. The city says that when it appeared, public complaints followed. Khan has his own take.
I don't know if there's any proper approval because it's a paint job, just like a mural you see anywhere else.
But the city disagrees and maintains its action was justified.
I can certainly say that I am confident that our team followed the process in this case.
I'm not trying to pick a fight with city or try to fight with anybody. I think it's just the way they handle it. It could be a discrimination, or it could be they didn't know what they were doing and they just went ahead with it.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
The reconstruction of Goderich's downtown is hurting local businesses. CTV's Scott Miller has more on the 2-year-long construction project that's progressing but still causing pain.
The bulldozers are slowly moving their way along Goderich's Square as Phase 1 and 2 of the town's downtown reconstruction project near completion.
Things are going good, better than expected actually.
Work to replace century-old water and sewer pipes under Goderich's Courthouse Square began in May. The work, which also includes new intersections, sidewalks, lampposts, planter boxes and trees, is almost done in Phase 1. That's from South to East Street. The bulk of the construction is now moved into Phase 2 between South and West Street. The old pipes are already dug up from that stretch, and work on rebuilding the road is underway.
But the big thing is they are on time, so we're hopeful that Phase 2 will be completed by the end of November. Stop for the winter. Phase 3 and Phase 4 on the other side of the square will start up early spring, hopefully.
And that can't come soon enough for Goderich's downtown business owners like Steve Bruce, who runs Steve and Mary's restaurant, firmly within Phase 2 of the construction zone.
Business has slowed down, obviously. It's kind of hard to get to the restaurant a little bit. The sidewalks were moved. We've got some light gravel down, which is access. But we're just going to manage through it and push our way through.
Now, while some of the local business owners and the mayor are trying to put as much of a happy face on this as possible, there is no question that the downtown construction project has hurt businesses in downtown Goderich.
On average, we're looking at about 25 to 30% down in revenue is what they're sharing with us. So it is substantial, right? But the businesses are still open to serve the public that want to come here. It is accessible.
Our staff understand. They're working with us on things. You know, they've had some reduced hours because of lack of traffic coming in the front door, but they're here for the long haul as well. Most of our staff was here during COVID, and this is just another version, I guess you could say.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. Just ask the businesses between South and East Street watching sidewalks being stamped today.
We've done okay through it, and people have stuck with us, but this will be a lot easier for them.
I can be mad about it, I can be angry and curse everybody, but I'm not going to. This is a positive thing for the town. It's replacing piping that's 100 years old, which needed to be done. So let's get it done, rip off the Band-Aid, and next year we're going to have at least half the square is going to have new frontage, and it's going to be an amazing place to be.
In Goderich, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Coming up, the London Knights are about to begin defending their titles tonight. We'll head to Canada Life Place for a taste of the excitement. Plus, the topping off ceremony to mark a milestone in Canada Life Place expansion.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvlondon.ca, your home for news.
The puck drops on a new season tonight for the London Knights, fresh off their OHL and Memorial Cup championships. Our Nick Paparella is at Canada Life Place as the excitement builds. Nick?
Hey, Lauren, it's a big night here in downtown London. They are going to hang those championship banners. The London Knights fans are ready for another big season, and so is Knights management.
It's a little bit tougher on the players because they have to turn around quickly and kind of try to get their bodies refreshed, and also at the same time be mindful that they need to train for the season and make sure they're ready to go. You know, for us as coaching staff and management, it's a shorter window, but happy to work the extra hours anytime you win. You know, that team was pretty special, and I think at this point we're not trying to live up to what that team was. We're trying to build what our team's going to be going forward this year, and with so many new faces and some returning guys that are stepping into different roles, that's kind of our focus. You know, it's going to be nice to look back tonight and see the banner raised, but moving forward, we need to look at what our team's going to be like this year with the personnel we have.
All right, tonight's game is a sellout. It's sold out, but these guys are the lucky ones. Come on, give them a big round of applause. Here we go. All right, favorite memory from last season. Come on.
Winning.
Winning? Winning it all?
All of it.
All right. What about you?
Dickinson said he would be my friend.
Dickinson said he would be your friend. All right. Good. And what about you? What's your best?
Lots of hugs from Will Nickel.
Lots of hugs from Will Nickel. All right. And what about you? What's your favorite memory from last season?
Having tickets to all of the home playoff games.
All right. What about you, big guy in the back?
Watching them lift that Memorial Cup trophy.
All right. And what about you?
Always getting a high from Easton Cowan.
And Dad?
Just watching the boys win.
All right. Now, there are lots of London Knights fans here. Brooks here is probably the youngest. Brooks, how are you doing, my buddy?
Good.
Are you looking forward to a big game tonight?
Yeah.
All right, you're going to cheer Go Knights Go?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. He's 2 years old, little Brooks. All right, guys, I'm thinking they're taking on the Owen Sound attack. I'm thinking 5-3 Knights and another championship season. What do you think, guys? Yeah! All right, are you set to cheer them on? Come on. Here we go. Go Knights Go! Go Knights Go! Go Knights Go!
Thank you, Nick, and Go Knights Go! Canada Life Place held a topping-off ceremony today to celebrate the expansion of the facility. A number of dignitaries were on hand to sign a beam that will be a part of the new back-of-house expansion. Here's a preview of the new changes to a staple in the city.
Look back to 2002, it was pretty incredible. Mark and Dale had bought the Knights. They were playing at the Ice House, maybe drawing 2,000 people, 2,500 people, inadequate facility. There had never really been an arena in London of this nature, and there were doubters at the time. We originally had curtains here, because if the team could only draw 4,000 or 5,000, we could pull curtains down. We've never used them.
Although this facility is almost pristine as it was back in 2002, other communities have caught up to us.
London is a place where people come for education, where they come for healthcare, where they come for commerce, and of course for entertainment. And this venue is really at the center of that. So this investment that has been made by the city in partnership with Oakview Group and Ellis Dawn is really going to help transform this building to the next phase.
When it was first opened, we were kind of one of the top venues in terms of amenities and upgrades, and other communities have started to catch up. So this allows us to get back up to the top step there and compete with those bigger communities like we always have to continue hosting major events.
One of the biggest things that fans are going to see when they come to Canada Life Place is our new concession stands. And really what that does is alleviate the lines on the concourse. Instead of waiting, heading up to a belly-up type stand, fans are going to be able to come in, grab the items they want, go check themselves out, and then get back to their seats before they miss a minute of the action. We're really excited to welcome everyone back to Canada Life Place for the start of a new night season. Kind of exciting that we're doing this topping off in the same night that the Knights are going to be dropping their banners from last season. So it's a great day for this arena, this community, the city. So we're just excited for everyone to come down and celebrate with us.
Rita Ismail joins me on the desk now. Rita, the past few days have been absolutely gorgeous. Is it going to stay like that for the weekend?
It sure will, at least for Saturday, Lauren. We have a beautiful day ahead with high pressure dominating the next 24 hours. Today was the perfect day, 23 degrees, a light breeze out of the northwest, noticeably more cooler than yesterday's 28 degrees, and of course we remain above seasonal, but today on the lower end. 23 our high, 20 the normal, 32 the record in 1955. Our sunset tonight at 7:27 in the evening, and it should be a beautiful sunset. As I mentioned, high pressure, that's been the story the last few days, which means clear, mainly sunny conditions. We are tracking the next weather maker. It is a low pressure system. The good news is it is slow moving, which means it won't arrive here over the Great Lakes region until Sunday late in the day. We're talking rain moving in at about 3 p.m. along the shores of Lake Huron and then into London later around 6. But there is a chance for some embedded thunderstorms with that system. So Sunday night throughout Midwestern Ontario, and for us here in London, we might dip into some moisture and some thunderstorm activity. This evening, no, beautiful evening, 21 degrees. The wind's comfortable out of the east, about 10 kilometers per hour, and overnight clear conditions. We're going to drop to an overnight low of 11. Thank you, Miriam, for sharing this beautiful photo showcasing the fall colors starting to come through. The winds out of the east first thing in the morning tomorrow. A little breezy, 20 to 40 kilometers per hour, but lots of sunshine, and then they'll ease off into the afternoon. 19 degrees by noon, 23. So much like today, the conditions will be very similar tomorrow, 23 and mainly sunny skies. A great day to be outdoors. Your 7-day forecast is brought to you by Metal Roof Outlet. So again, that system moving in on Sunday. Ushering in a little bit of warmth again, 26. That's about 5 to 6 degrees warmer than where we're supposed to be. And we will be dealing with some thunderstorm activity as well. It's not packing a lot of moisture, but we'll certainly get a little bit of rain, much needed rain, Sunday into Monday. Dropping off after that, 21 degrees and then 19 on Wednesday. It'll feel nice and fall-like. Fall officially arriving Monday afternoon. Heading into the end of next week, 22 and a few showers in store. Midwestern Ontario, overnight tonight, we're going to drop down to 9 degrees. We don't have that shield of cloud cover to warm us up, but the sunshine will be nice tomorrow, 22 degrees, mainly sunny skies. Showers in store for Sunday and Monday. It's not a complete washout. Again, Sunday morning into early afternoon will be dry and there'll be sunshine, but then quickly the system swings on through Sunday, bringing in some rainfall. And then heading into Monday morning, it'll be damp-like conditions, certainly starting to feel like fall next week as we drop off to near 20 degrees by Thursday. Lauren?
Still ahead on CTV News, despite all the threats and intimidation, the American ambassador to Canada says there is no trade war.
Join us every single weekend for the iHeartRadio Pure Country Countdown. It's Saturdays at 9, Sundays at 4.
This week we got your CCMA Award Roundup, and a Canadian rapper could be going country. Details this weekend.
The province is offering up funding to help construction workers train their potential future colleagues. $1.5 million will go towards training 100 experienced construction workers on how to become mentors. They will help train others in emerging home construction technologies and modern building practices. The mentees will include recent graduates and those considered at risk of job displacement. Ontario's Labour Minister says the investment will help open doors to good-paying jobs and build housing. New figures from Stats Canada are adding to signals of slowing demand in the economy. As spending slowed at supermarkets and grocery stores, retail sales were down 0.8% in July to $69.6 billion. In volume terms, retail sales dropped 0.8% in July. The agency says the estimate for August points to an increase of 1% for overall retail sales. Trade tensions between Canada and the United States have dragged on for months. During a visit to Halifax, the American ambassador to Canada downplayed talk of a trade war, calling it simply negotiations. CTV's Jesse Thomas has more.
The U.S. ambassador to Canada was on the defensive in Halifax, accusing Canada of playing hardball when it comes to trade talks. Pete Hoekstra repeatedly told the Halifax Chamber of Commerce that Canada has it wrong, saying this isn't a trade war, but merely negotiations.
The cabinet's now saying that we're at war with America. That doesn't help, okay? That doesn't, an American opinion, okay? Maybe in Canada saying we're at war, maybe that's something that Canadians stand up and say, yes, 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 okay? We have an enemy. I don't think so. I know a little bit about Canada.
Hoekstra warned calling it a war is misleading and dangerous.
No, we're not at war. If the president thought he was at war with Canada, you'd see a whole different kind of relationship and trade negotiations.
He then took aim at politicians who've called for Canadians to boycott U.S. travel and American products like alcohol, suggesting Americans aren't stooping to that level.
We don't say don't go to Canada.
But while politicians argue over words, small businesses are feeling the impact. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says tariffs and trade talks are leading to economic uncertainty, and they call on Nova Scotia to dip into its $200 million tariff contingency fund.
But we just have no clarity on what the province is going to do with that fund here, and we do need clarity. That would add certainty. We know of small businesses who could tap into funds, and they need those supports. And it's on the province to really give a clear answer on this.
The province's finance minister, John Lohr, wouldn't answer questions regarding the contingency fund or what impact tariffs are having on the economy, promising instead to answer those questions on Monday at a fiscal update. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
Canada's main stock index ended the week with a more than 300-point jump, helped by strength in base metals. In Toronto, the TSX gained 315 points, and in New York, the Dow added 173, while the Nasdaq is up 161. The Canadian dollar rose 0.05 of a cent today, and on commodity markets, gold gained more than $27 an ounce, and oil fell 86 cents a barrel. When we return, a celebration of the cancer care workers during Childhood Cancer Care Awareness Month. September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and today they held a special event recognizing the work being done here in London with those most affected at the center of the celebration.
Lots of space here. Put it on there. Good job, sweetie. All right.
Young patients took part in a handprint ceremony, leaving their impression on a pair of Hyundai SUVs. Hyundai Canada donated $100,000 as part of their Hope on Wheels fundraising effort, which supports pediatric cancer centers. The local Finch Hyundai Group topped up that amount with an additional $40,000. Today's event was also a celebration of oncology healthcare providers at Children's Hospital.
I'm very privileged to represent a very large team of committed healthcare providers and families dedicating their lives and their everyday to children and families affected by childhood cancer. And I think we need to applaud them for a great celebratory day, but recognize there's a lot of hard days in between. So I thank everyone that identifies themselves as being a part of our team on pediatric oncology today.
Ontario NDP leader Merritt Stiles will face a leadership review this weekend as the party holds its annual convention. Party members will gather in Niagara Falls Saturday and Sunday. The mandatory review of Stiles' leadership comes just 1 week after a similar vote by the provincial leaderships led by Bonnie Crombie, resigning as the party's head. It's been 6 months since the Ford government called a snap election where the NDP placed second in seat count, holding on to 27 seats and losing 4 compared to the 2022 vote. Meanwhile, the race to lead the federal NDP could heat up today. Filmmaker and journalist A.V. Lewis is expected to officially announce his intention to run for the party's leadership today. Lewis will be the first high-profile name to launch a bid in the race to replace Jagmeet Singh. He previously ran unsuccessfully as a candidate in the 2021 and 2025 elections. Singh resigned as leader after the party was changed to 7 seats in the April election. Lewis is married to author, activist, and filmmaker Naomi Klein. The shelter debate in Stratford has heated up once again as concerns over cold weather start to creep in. The city currently does not have an emergency shelter, and advocates say it's time that changes. CTV's Jeff Pickle reports.
Demonstration in front of City Hall has brought the issue to attention. It comes after a request to put an emergency winter shelter at the Stratford Rotary Complex was shot down by council. The mayor says any shelter would be a difficult financial challenge. Martine Lee is new to the city and says she was shocked to learn there was no emergency shelter.
So obviously in London and Toronto, larger places like that, they have men's shelters. Here, what the policy is, you get put into a motel for 2 weeks and then you get kicked out. So even though they get free 2 weeks of motel, that might not be enough time for them to gather the funds to rent a place after 2 weeks.
Mayor Martin Ritzma says he appreciates and understands the passion around this topic, but says finding a solution for a city the size of Stratford remains a challenge.
We know that if we spend dollars on shelters, those dollars aren't put into permanent supportive housing. And so if we have a plan that's saying, yes, we'll do this for right now, but we need to plan for the next most important phase, and that's the permanent supportive housing.
Mayor Ritzma says he is hopeful for help from local community and church organizations as they work towards a solution before the cold weather hits. Reporting in Stratford, Jeff Pickle, CTV News.
5K a day is back on 97.5
Virgin Radio.
Listen to Jeff KP and Backstage Ben for your chance to win $5,000
Every weekday.
5K a day.
Virgin Radio.
Tonight's weather snapshot sent in from our viewer, Mary. She took this great photo of the crescent moon, Venus, and the bright star, Regulus, as they aligned in a rare pre-dawn close conjunction early this morning. Thank you so much for sharing, Mary. Great shot. Now the sky will be clear again tonight for stargazers into Saturday morning as high pressure holds for another day. We're in for clear blue skies for tomorrow, but showers loom for late day Sunday.
A measles outbreak has been declared just north of Toronto. The carrier, a young child who returned home from a trip abroad. CTV's Adrian Goderich with why public health officials say this latest cluster of cases is no reason to panic, as long as you're up to date on your vaccines.
A foreign strain of the measles is confirmed to have landed on Canadian soil and is to blame for an outbreak of 5 known cases in children in Vaughan, Ontario.
We do know there's been community transmission, and all the 5 cases we're talking about are linked. So we know that just from the lab analysis that they're all actually the same subtype of virus.
The emergency room at the Goderich Vaughan Hospital is one of 2 locations where there may have been an exposure, though health officials note that if you're vaccinated, there's little to be concerned about.
This vaccine, especially in children and adolescents, does a remarkable job in preventing infection, and there's overwhelming data supporting that.
As of September 6th, there's been more than 4,900 cases of measles reported across the country, with the largest clusters found in Alberta and Ontario, where more than 2,300 cases have been confirmed. The largest measles outbreak found here in southwestern Ontario, where the highly contagious disease spread at an alarming rate through some of the region's Mennonite communities, where vaccination rates are below the national average.
When you do have a pocket of non-immune individuals and you introduce the virus into that pocket, it's going to take off like wildfire.
Infectious disease specialists are hopeful that the worst of Canada's 2025 outbreaks are behind us. The recent Canadian cases come as a newly appointed federal advisory panel stateside installed by U.S. Secretary of Health Robert F. Kennedy Jr. passed a vote this week recommending that children under 4 no longer receive an all-in-one vaccine for measles, mumps, rubella, and chickenpox. North of the border, some doctors are worried that decision could lead to more vaccine hesitancy.
I'm not looking to the United States for guidance on the appropriate path forward. And I don't think much of the world is either.
Here in the Greater Toronto Area, if you visited a location where there may have been a potential exposure, you're being asked to call your local public health unit immediately. Adrian Goderich, CTV News, Vaughan, Ontario.
Prime Minister Mark Carney will not give a major foreign policy speech at the United Nations next week. He was originally scheduled to speak to the General Assembly on September 27th. The Prime Minister's office says there will be an explanation for the change soon. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand will instead address the Assembly on the 29th. Canada will formally recognize Palestinian statehood at the UN. Carney will participate in events about Ukraine, Haiti, the Middle East, and funding for climate adaptation. Overseas, 3 Russian fighter jets violated the airspace of Estonia without permission today and stayed there for 12 minutes. The NATO member has summoned a Russian diplomat to protest the action. Just over a week ago, NATO planes downed Russian drones over Poland. It was the most serious cross-border incident involving a NATO country since the war in Ukraine began. Estonia says Moscow has violated its airspace 4 times this year, but insists today's incursion was extremely brazen. Nova Scotia's education minister is demanding all schools in the province resume the practice of starting each school day with the national anthem. Turns out some schools quietly dropped the practice, which generated some complaints, including from students. CTV's Callum Smith reports.
Students at CPA High School in Bedford haven't heard the national anthem to start their day, and they're not alone.
There was a handful of schools that weren't playing it.
But how it came to the minister's attention was hearing from students directly.
It's really kind of neat to see them that engaged, that wrote some letters, and we looked into it and we just saw that there was no consistent policy.
One of them was grade 12 student Casey Min, who doesn't recall hearing the anthem since his first day of high school 2 years ago.
I think it's important to, be patriotic. We thank the land, we thank this country for the opportunity. For myself, I'm an immigrant here. I thank this country for all the opportunity I had. So I think it's really important to stand up for our values, patriotism for Canada.
He and a couple friends penned a letter earlier this week with numerous signatures. The minister quickly issued a new policy mandating all schools play the anthem each morning. But the Halifax Regional Centre for Education has had one, first adopted over 15 years ago. So they were taken aback when they heard about CPA.
Certainly that was a surprise.
HRCE reached out to all schools today, reminding them of their own policy and sharing the new provincial one.
I just kind of thought back to when I was a child and you'd go to school and the anthem would play, and it was kind of like a peaceful moment of reflection. And so I thought, there are a lot of kids that want that. There are a lot of staff that want that.
CTV couldn't speak to CPA's principal because they're on leave.
I can't speak to the specifics as to why there was a change in practice at this particular school, but certainly can say that the anthem will be played tomorrow and every day going forward in adherence to the policy.
These students appreciate seeing quick action and being able to make a difference.
I think that is a beautiful thing. I think it's important because we are honoring the people who came before us, who built this country and who fought in various wars to protect our freedom.
Callum Smith, CTV News, Halifax.
The towers of one of the world's most famous landmarks reopened today after years of reconstruction. The opening of the towers marks the final stage in the restoration of the Notre-Dame Cathedral in Paris. Much of it was destroyed by fire 6 years ago. The tower tour now features new spaces such as close-up access to the bells. Notre-Dame's reconstruction was redefined by extraordinary craftsmanship and nearly $1 billion in global donations.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
You could say it's a story about puppy love and how one man is going the extra mile to spread joy as he takes his daily walks with his wiener dog, a duo getting plenty of double takes. With more on why, here's CTV's John Venevali-Rao.
Do you want to go for a walk? That's the question Rich Lutchford loves to ask his best friend Maya, a tiny dachshund whose daily walks involve more than the usual gear. Go on then, let's go. Because Lutchford, hoping to fetch some smiles, aiming to turn heads with an inflatable suit that has nothing to do with Halloween.
just thought it would be funny.
Lutchford, who works as a roofer, simply started regularly walking Maya in public dressed like this. A wiener dog walking a wiener dog.
People kind of look at me like, what is this? Other people are smiling, and I point at them and say, that's what it's all about. That smile. Have a great day. Yes! Have a great day!
Lutchford hoping to add some levity to a world that could use it right now.
Yeah!
And this, the kind of response he gets everywhere he goes.
I've had literally people scream, stop, say, oh my gosh, and then drive off.
And of course, everyone wants a picture.
What do you love about it?
Everything. How he's walking in public like that. I love it.
I think it's great.
Lutchford also posting videos of himself doing things like going to the dog park and wandering through a grocery store. All sorts of local groups are now asking him to make appearances. The mayor of neighboring Whitby noticed and awarded him a certificate, acknowledging the joy he was bringing to others.
I thought it was pretty cool.
So what does Maya think of it all? Lutchford says she gets excited when he puts on the suit.
I think she likes me more as a dog than as a human.
And Lutchford, he plans to keep on warming as many hearts as he can, leaving his mark one smile at a time. John Vanavelli-Rouse, CTV News, Oshawa, Ontario.
That's it for us. For your latest local updates, you can always head to our website. Our next newscast is at 11. From all of us at CTV News London, thanks for watching. Have a good night.